Cedric Maxwell Podcast is brought to you by Prize Picks and the Game Time app.
All right, it's another episode of the Cedric Maxwell Podcast. I'm Josue Pavon. He is Cedric Maxwell. Off-season edition for sure, man. We had a nice little vacation break, but we're back with a new batch of episodes, and we're starting with this one. Max, how you doing, man? How's North Carolina treating you?
That's excellent. It is hot down here.
Oof, yeah, it is.
Heat index was, I think, 110 today.
Damn.
So yeah,
that's Vegas weather right there.
It's been baking down here in eastern North Carolina. I was down at Myrtle Beach for a while. Now I'm in Kinston, and just moving around. But tomorrow's supposed to be just as bad. It's about 100. So it's gonna be 105 tomorrow.
Yeah, I love how you spend your summers, man. You be hanging out with friends, family, like it's a little bit of everything. It's like school break. You know what I mean? Kind of type of vibes for you.
Normally, look, to get me back on this podcast right now to talk about things going on with the whole, and I know where you're going instantly. I know you're gonna be Jaylen Brown.
We gotta talk about that dude.
What happened and why wasn't? I'll start the interview off.
You started off. I like that.
We'll switch it up this time. Just wait. We see that Jaylen Brown right now did MVP in the finals, MVP in the Eastern Conference Finals, but doesn't get an Olympic nod. I'm gonna do like you. Why?
Why? Well, according to him, he hasn't completely, told us exactly what source or what he's been told, but he's pointing at Nike. He's saying Nike has everything to do with this, and I can't wait to see what kind of information unfolds. Jaylen did speak recently. He was asked about, not being snubbed essentially, right, from the USA squad, Team USA squad, but the way people took it was as a slight towards his teammate in Derrick White, right? Derrick White replaces Kawhi Leonard, and he's upset about what Nike, or what he believes Nike had to do with his snubbing, right? He did say on the record that he reached out to Derrick White, told him, it has nothing to do with him, it's nothing personal or anything like that. So I think that helps the situation. I think from the outside looking in, it's like, man, you're raining on your boy being selected, and I didn't take it in that regard, but I felt like it could have easily been interpreted in that way, right? I would have appreciated it. It's like, hey, shout out to Derrick White, but what's up with this and that or the next thing? But the fact that he reached out to Derrick, I think helps the situation for sure. But it is a surprise, man. The Finals MVP didn't even get an invite. And I get it. With the team needs and the role and Derrick White, the type of minutes that's going around, probably not going to be a whole lot for Jaylen if he were to be on this team. But it's weird, man. It's really weird. And I hate to think that a company like Nike would have that much power, that much say in this type of situation.
Didn't you see the swoosh that was on somebody's jersey, on their jacket when they were talking? And they went to Grant Hill, who is right now the VP of all this, and it's a Nike swoosh on. Well, what did Jaylen Brown say about Nike? What did he say? He said, "Look, I don't believe in their practices. I don't." Kyrie, he came to Kyrie's defense and saying, they shouldn't have kicked Kyrie off and all that other stuff. Well, you're not going to go any place when Nike is the primary sponsor of all that, and you think you can go there and trash the product? And before you get there, no, they ain't gonna happen. Yeah. So for them to snub Jaylen Brown, I get it. When it comes to a business standpoint, I just don't like the way that Grant was trying to portray it. Grant said, "Well, I want to get the best team out there and the best players, and put this team in." Well, you're going to take the Finals MVP. You're going to take one of the best players right now in the league.
Right.
No slap at all. But he was saying, well, maybe. Derrick White is going to fit in better. Well, Vegas odds have it right now that Derrick White is going to play less minutes right now than anybody on that team. So why are you thinking, that he's going to make this better teammate? I think he comes in and it's a lot more smooth. There's the continuity is probably going to be a little bit better because the controversy, you don't bring it to him, because first thing people are going to ask you is, if you're Jaylen, is, okay, Jaylen, why didn't you get picked in the first place? And when he says what he needs to say, then everybody's going to be looking at it like, okay, where are we going to go here from? Where are we going to go from there? So I see where they're coming from. I know what Jaylen's going through, but 1981, the Finals MVP didn't make the All-Star team the next year. It happens.
Yeah. It does, man, for sure. And I think this thing, it goes back to maybe what happened before he even stepped foot in the NBA, which is an AEU sponsored team that really wanted Jaylen to join him, Nike, and he went with Adidas, you know? So I don't know, man. It sounds petty, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is an ongoing thing from back when he even was a rookie in this league, right? And Nike was just kind of like, I don't know about this guy, and they're looking for any type of reason to not include him in something like this, and then Jaylen gave him one. But look, I'm not going to fault Jaylen for what he believes in. You know, he said that years ago, and if Nike wanted to hold on to that quote and not include him to the squad, it's a bad look for Nike. And I hope that Jaylen, whatever he has in store, whatever's coming up in terms of more information about the situation, you know, I hope it's in favor of what Jaylen's saying right now, for sure.
Well, if you are a Celtic fan and you believe in this team, matter of fact, you're happy right now this happened. Because it's going to put more fuel on the fire.
Yeah, man.
It comes to Jaylen, who he is and what he's done. Last year getting snubbed from all NBA, and what did he go out and do? Became the best player in the playoffs. Was explosive, and you had something else to prove. Does he have something else to prove this time? I mean, even when they went to Tatum, I remember they asked Tatum about it. So, how do you feel? And Tatum just kind of like, well, you know, I'm not. And so he kind of walked backwards away from it.
Mm.
So, you know, if Jaylen wants to take offense to anybody or anything, these things happen. And now what he can do is hold his world championship ring and kind of go from there in this $300 million contract and say, so what? So what? I didn't get invited to the Olympics, and you know, look what I've accomplished.
Yeah, he's gonna take it out on the floor for sure, man. He actually pulled up to Summer League the other night, Celtics versus Lakers, Max. The rivalry in Summer League form with Bronny James, and yeah, it went well for Boston.
He built another house out there of bricks. What did he do?
Yeah, he did. He did. Yo, this man's 0 for 12 from 3 right now, Max. 0 for 12. Big deal or no big deal? We're not doing that segment, but just on that alone, big deal or no big deal? What do you say?
Big deal. You know, not in the fact that he has a contract and a guaranteed contract that most players don't have.
3-year deal.
3-year deal, and that is strictly about his dad. It's nobody else. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. It's about LeBron James wanting his son on that team, and he had the power to pull the strings and make it happen. We wouldn't be talking about Bronny James if, in fact, he was any other player. We wouldn't even be talking about him in that vein. But because he's the son of one of the greatest players ever to play the game, it's fair now. And LeBron opened it up by saying, "Look, I want to play with my son." And what did they leave the Lakers? Pick number 55.
55, yeah.
And the Celtics picked before them. What happened if the Celtics had taken it?
They should have, Max. You were hated that idea. They should have.
You wanted it. I know.
Danny would have done that shit. You know, Danny would have.
You don't want that smoke. Why?
Danny Ainge would have wanted that smoke. He would have spent a late second round on Bronny.
Why do you need that to come to you if you're the Boston? Why do you need the drama if, in fact, you're already the world champions? I mean, you just want to be messy. That just be messy. You don't. I'm
choosing violence.
What does Bronny James do for your team but become messy?
Oh no, I'm not talking about Bronny. I'm talking about assets, Max. Hey, Lakers, you afraid you're gonna lose his dad? Well, what do you want for him? What do you want for Bronny?
That's not an asset. You know, you know what? God don't like ugly. He ain't fond of pretty, but he sure don't like ugly. So the Boston Celtics did what they needed to do. They took a quality player.
They wanted
somebody that could help them out. And Bronny James couldn't help him out. I don't think he helped the Lakers out. Now I could be wrong, and matter of fact, I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that Bronny is able to play. But man, that's a tough road to hoe when your father's one of the best players ever to play the game.
I can't help but think about what Gary said when we had him on, right? Like stunting his growth. Like you're not doing Bronny any favors here, Max. It's not like this is going to expedite the process. Like it doesn't work like that, right, Max? Like another year in college doesn't, you know what I mean? You can't make up for that experience with a year in the G League or a year at the end of the belt, whatever plays out for Bronny this upcoming season.
NBA in the NBA, it's like this: either you have it or you don't. You just don't develop overnight in the NBA.
Right.
Your tools have to be there. Is he an exceptional shooter? Well, by 0 for 12, that means no. Is he an exceptional defender? He's 6'1" and a half. The guards in the NBA are 6'4", 6'5" now. So what does he bring to the table that you can't get right now from essentially anybody in the G League? So, but God bless him. The fact that it happened, I think it's monumental and it happened. But what I see is a train wreck. Hope it's not, but I see a train wreck.
Yeah, man, you might be right, Max. You might be right. I mean, I think he's like any other late second rounder. He's got to find his way, but there's all this pressure and this hype and this, attention. It's not going to help him, man, especially in the early go. He's got to find his own way. He's got to find a way to drown out the noise because I think it's affected him.
Well, you can't.
How can it not?
You can't be unnoticed in the summer league if your name is Bronny James and you're playing against the Celtics.
Yeah.
How'd that look? You watch the game because that's your thing. You will look at the train wreck. In fact, I will turn away. I don't even want to see. I didn't want to know what happened. I didn't want to know what happened until you actually saw it. I'm good. I'm good with this. I don't need to know about Bronny James, who I feel is not going to be one of these guys who's going to destroy people.
Well, you know who was balling out in that game, man? Neemias Queta, man. He flirted around with a double-double, 22 points, 8 rebounds. I know he was at the end of the bench last year, but the new deal he signed, along with a handful of other players that signed, has got the Celtics roster ready to compete for the next 2-3 seasons. How you feeling about that, man? And of course, Jaylen is a big part of that as well. Tatum is a big part of that as well with his max deal, the richest in NBA history.
Well, what you did, you solidified your team. You got all your ducks in a row, and you're unlike some of the teams who have just recently won it. People talked about what Denver did. What Denver can repeat because Joker is the best player. Joker's a hell of a player. And Murray was a hell of a player. But the guys that they had coming off the bench, they missed them.
Yeah.
I mean, Jeff laughed, Jeff Green wasn't this. Jeff Green was solid for them. Bruce Brown.
They haven't replaced him, Max. They haven't replaced either of those guys.
They were both solid, and you couldn't replace them. You look at their bench strength. It wasn't there. When they played in the playoffs, when Joker went out of the game, they had nothing else.
Right.
So they're going to have to go out and try to do what they did. But the Celtics, how many players are coming back? Al's coming back. Who's the eighth guy? Who else? Pritchard's going to be back.
Pritchard's back.
House is going to be back.
White got a new deal.
It was it's like just when they said bring the band back together. Well, the band is coming back. And will they be tougher and I think they will because they're a younger team. And we're talking about health. You got to be healthy, obviously.
Right.
We'll see how long Porzingis is out. Will they do Porzingis like Al and just try to baby him? No second nights of back-to-back. Now, how valuable is Al Horford all of a sudden become?
This episode of the Cedric Maxwell Podcast is brought to you by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You could turn $10 into $1,000. If you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has got you covered every week. From lowering select players' stats projections on Tuesdays to help your lineup hit, or getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. Prize Picks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Angel Reese's streak of double-doubles might have come to an end, but that doesn't mean you can't pick more on both of those stat projections, right? Whether we're talking about points or rebounds. That's been a big one for me this summer. And you can come up big with making those same picks. Download the Prize Pick app today and use the code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's CLNS on Prize Picks for a deposit of up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Yeah. I mean, he proved it during the postseason. I mean, he's ready to take on that role as the starter, before Porzingis comes back, whether it's Christmas, whatever the timeline may be. However, another year, I love that Brad Stevens didn't look at the rest of his centers and say, okay, I got to choose one of these guys. No, he signed both of them. Luke Cornett's coming back. You got, Kata's back. Like I just mentioned, like that's a motivation factor for him because it's like, okay, we can relax. I got my security here. I got at least 3 years to prove myself. And I don't have to worry about these guys letting me walk in the next couple of months. So I think all that is important. It's huge when you look at, and Tillman, that's the other guy too. Tillman, all that matters to me because obviously in the playoffs, we found out that depth matters. And the rest of the NBA is finding that out at the wrong time when you look at the second apron era. And some of these guys, some of these teams, they can't really add to a roster the way they would want to because they weren't prepared for this. Look at the Phoenix Suns, Max. The Phoenix Suns were the last team to go and do the super team route and say, oh, yeah, we only got 4 or 5. I mean, we got like 5 guys, 6 guys on the contract. We'll figure out the rotation. I mean, look at our big 3. We got Durant, we got Beal, we got Booker. We'll be fine. What did that do for them? Like, it's not – that doesn't work anymore, Max. That formula is the old days. Out with the old.
Yeah, I think the one thing you're saying is truly, for me, it really is true, is that you look at it, the Celtics have Jason Tatum is a star, but is he a superstar in this league? Brown a superstar? Celtics got a bunch of great players, but not the supernova, not the LeBron James, not that kind of player. Guys who are, Ant-Man, who's going to the next level.
Right.
Tatum is in their wheelhouse. Brown is in their wheelhouse.
Top 15, top 10, whatever.
If you look, but as we tried to say before, if you look at the effect of the roster and them coming together and the players they have, that's crazy. It's still crazy. I mean, you look at the Lakers with their depth or lack of depth. You look at the team that I think is getting some depth to me might be the New York Knicks. Their lineup.
They just added another guy too, Cameron Payne.
I mean, and the thing that they did, I think was really smart, was Brunson took less money. Brunson took $31 million instead of getting 41 or 42, whatever. So I can build around me. That's going to allow the Knicks to go out and do a few more things. I still don't believe they're in the same, vicinity as the Boston Celtics, but it definitely puts them on the apron. And now you look at what Paul George coming over to Philly. And
you called that, man, a couple of weeks ago. Gary was like, he's probably going to stay at the Clippers. You were like, that boy's going to Philly.
Well, why wouldn't he go? I was trying to figure out with Gary, why wouldn't he go to Philly?
Yeah.
I mean, because if you think about Philadelphia, he instantly does not need the ball to be effective. He's a guy who can score the basketball. He can defend the basketball.
He can defend.
But you can put him at, now you're saying he's number 2, number 3 on the depth chart, and it gives him more of an opportunity to, kind of hang out and not have to do as many things when you got a Joel Embiid and you got a Maxey. But there are times that Paul George, with his ability to step up, can knock down shots and take over games too. So I think it's a real good move for Philadelphia and what they have to do.
Were you surprised when you heard the news about with Grossbeck and giving up his share, the majority owner of the Celtics team?
Yeah, I was a little surprised, but it makes sense. It makes perfect sense because what do you do, Josue? They always teach us now. You buy low,
sell high. It don't get higher than this, Max.
The Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
You think about it, were bought for $340 million, whatever it was. I think it was less than Tatum's contract at $305, whatever it is.
Yeah, you're right. Back in 2003,
they were bought for that price that many years ago. Now this team is worth probably like $4, maybe $5 billion.
Billions, yeah, 4.5, I think.
And if you're selling this team right now, you've been, and he doesn't say like he's selling it all. He's selling a majority share.
Mm-hmm.
And what they can do is they can start rolling their money back. They can take $5 billion for the sale and still keep 20% of the team. Maybe not as a bigger footprint, but still an opportunity for them to do some things that they like to do. I heard that Pagliuca, his group were talking about going out and buying this team. So it's going to be an interesting year right now for the Boston Celtics from a managerial standpoint, from a ownership standpoint, or should we say governor standpoint. It should be very interesting what this team is able to do.
Yeah, Max, especially when you look at this timeline. I mean, let's face it. Whenever this guy comes in, whether it's Steve Pagliuca or someone else, like they're gonna have some really, really hard decisions to make. That's gonna be around the time where contracts are up. In the next couple of seasons. Guys like Porzingis, Al, and all that stuff. I mean, I just think this window.
What is so tough going to be about Al? Al's going to play.
I mean, okay, maybe I shouldn't have said Al, but
you shouldn't have said Al. Maybe you should say Porzingis.
Porzingis is the big one.
Porzingis has 2 years left on this contract. Can you come back somehow and be able to sign him? Or what do you know? You got Tatum. You got Brown. You got Drew. You got White. So you got those guys stuck already. It's going to be Porzingis is the biggest question mark that you're going to have, and they're talking about penalizing teams with the second apron by going over the salary cap, and maybe it costs them $100 million. Well, what is $100 million to these teams when you just spent $4 billion on this team? And on the fact you look at Monty Williams, who just left Detroit, they gave him $69 million just to go home.
That was crazy.
Go home.
Why did you even sign up for this?
Yeah, we got your address. We know your address already, but just go home.
Yeah, but Max, he got the richest deal any coach has ever had in NBA history. Why wouldn't they at least run it back? That's a G League team they got in Detroit, Max. They'll make it sound like he dropped the ball here. What are we doing?
Yeah, you're right. I get what you're saying, but whoever the ownership is believed that his time, that they didn't believe in him, and he got young players out there. Some Cape come to him is a very nice player. Ivy is a good player, so they should be better than they were. I think when they played Boston that time, they almost beat the Celtics. Yeah,
they almost got that losing streak. They almost snapped it, but it didn't happen.
Celtics came back and won that basketball game. And I asked Rick Mahorn, who is my counterpart for Detroit radio, I said, why? If you guys play this hard, he said, we don't play this hard all the time. We don't play this smart all the time with the team he was talking about. So, again, here's another Rick Mahorn who's probably going to be you look at the schedule and you say, April 15th, oh, where are we going to be? We'll be home. We go. Season's over. Whereas the Boston Celtics just ended less than a month ago.
That's when he booked his vacation, huh, Max? I'm telling you that. When we have Rick Mahorn on, man, that was one of my favorite episodes last season. That was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say, my folk?
No, I was good.
Yeah, no, I just it's just interesting the way money's being thrown around, the NBA, and I get it. The new TV deal and all that stuff plays a big part as well. But that tax bill, Max, how many years is the ownership going to be able to, or not be able to, but willing to carry that, with the second apron restrictions and all that. That's the reason why the NBA did this. I feel like they want to avoid teams having dynasties, and the Celtics are really going against the grain right now.
I don't know why you want, and here's the thing about it. I don't know why you wouldn't want teams to be that. Why you want to have super teams. You think of the two teams in the 80s that were the most explosive teams. There were the Celtics and the Lakers, two dynasties. After that, it was Chicago, Detroit for a minute. Was that a dynasty with them winning 2 in a row? But then you look at the Bulls, and that became a dynasty. And then you look at then you move on. You have the Spurs. A dynasty. And then Golden State Warriors. If they hadn't lost Kevin Durant, how many times would they have won? Because people keep saying they had the cheat code. They had the cheat code when they had Durant and Curry and Steph.
I think that's what started this whole thing. Yeah. The NBA was kind of like, okay, we got to do something here. It was 30 teams. And
yeah. But
the Celtics were ahead of it.
I believe that kind of stuff is, for me, I see it as good. It's good advertising for a league when you have a super team and then other teams trying to knock them off.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Do you consider Celtics a super team, though? Because it's hard to consider them a super team, but they have the talent that it could, you know what I mean? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, for me, super team is like when
you know what they would say? Let me
perennial all-stars all come together and no one expected it.
Let me give it to you. Sneaky good. Sneaky great.
Okay.
If there's such a thing. Because you look at their person. Look what they did this year. They had more games won by 50, 30, 40, 20 than any other team in the NBA. And the times that they just ran roughshod through the league.
Dominating.
They were what? At the end, the Eastern Conference, but they were 12 games or something clear of the Eastern Conference. Nobody played that well. And the only thing that people were waiting to happen for the Celtics, they were waiting for the Celtics to fall flat on their face.
Mm-hmm.
So they could get your line. Told you so. Told you they want that.
Oh, man.
That's all.
ESPN, all those dudes.
I mean, but everybody, the season, and I was waiting like everybody else just to see what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But this team proved that they were a great team, and they beat people, and they beat people up. And then people say, well, they barely, or Indiana, they lost their best player. Okay, you lost Porzingis when you played.
Right. How many teams would have lost it? I mean,
Cleveland. You do that. So now you play Dallas, and everybody's. A lot of the consensus big guys, the reporters out there, parade in Dallas. It's going to be a parade in Dallas. No way. Dallas has the best player. Well, the scenario was painted wrong from the beginning. They did not have the best player. Tatum and Brown were the best two players.
Yeah.
There were times when White was just as good, or you look at Drew Holiday was fantastic. So let's get away from all this other stuff about the best players were in Celtics, were in green, and they played well enough to dominate the NBA and win a championship convincingly. Not it was like, oh my God, what's going to happen? We're going back to Dallas. Dallas won a game, and you get to Boston for Game 5, and they get blown out.
6-1-7 day.
They're down by 20 at the half. Pritchard hits a shot, and I don't think I've heard the Garden that loud ever. When he hit that half-court buzzer beater, and it just like took the air out of the building. I think the biggest thing to me was just the hatred for. No, Sean Gradney, my broadcast partner, kept saying, "Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Kyrie is not going to be the villain, the ultimate villain at the end of this series, because Luka is going to be the ultimate villain because the way Luka plays and talks to the crowd and all that stuff." That wasn't what happened. Mm-hmm. Kyrie was still the ultimate villain because even when Kyrie did what I thought was a really cool thing when he congratulated Celtics on winning the championship, he still got beat up for it. Mm-hmm. They beat his ass for exactly what sportsmanship would be like. He's just showboating. He didn't. Did you have a problem with it, Josue, with him congratulating the Celtics for winning the championship before the game was over?
No, not at all.
Well, people did. You know that, right?
I didn't know that. What did they say?
There was a bunch of reporters who say, Kyrie was just showboating and he just wanted the spotlight to be on him and that.
Nah, I don't subscribe to that, man.
Yeah,
not at all.
But that was still the venom that was in that building for Kyrie. Even after the game, people were still chanting Kyrie's name at the end. Celtics had won the championship. At the parade, people were chanting Kyrie's name. Kyrie was on the island someplace with his wife and kids, laid back, chilling.
He's not even thinking about it, yeah.
Just where he was on like this. Give me another drink. Yeah, I have another one of those drinks right there. Mojitos. Let me get one of those. And my wife would have a margarita. And my
he had an umbrella in his drink. Someone with an umbrella in it.
Yeah. Love and life.
Yeah, well, the news just came out that he's gonna need surgery soon, but apparently it's an injury that happened after the finals or something that happened during training. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm happy for this time, this moment that he had, or at least this time in his career where I feel like he's just in such a better place. And I really don't think that was something that he was trying to play off or trying to put out there like, oh, I'm different or whatever. I think it's genuine. I really do. But that was never going to change what's going to happen on the court, though.
Like, you don't think he was in a good place when the fans were behind him? He was going,
oh, that was the old Kyrie. That's what I'm saying. That was the old Kyrie. But he's still in his feelings. It still hurts.
Kyrie was...
Look what happened after game. Look what happened after game 2. He went to the crowd telling them, "Oh, we'll be back for game 5." We were, all right.
You were.
Other fans are like, "Let's celebrate it here." Then sounds good.
He was right. They did come back to game 5. I was surprised that they came back.
But you knew it was gonna be a blowout, though, man. You knew that game wouldn't be close.
I didn't think that Dallas would come back. I thought it would be when the Celtics won game 3, went 3-0. I thought it was over then.
Right, but once Dallas won game 4, you weren't worried about game 5, right?
I wasn't worried about it. No, I knew the Celtics were going to come out and put their foot on the gas, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. I mean, look, that's what I feel like the experience of losing in the finals and just experience overall for a lot of these guys on that Celtics team played its part. And then that talent gap, I felt like significant talent gap between the Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks. I was like, that's gonna catch up at some point.
Why didn't people think that before the series? People kept saying about Washington, how good he was going to be, how Jones was going to be dominant, and all these naysayers talked about exactly that. This is what I see. Luka is the best player, and he's going to dominate the games anytime he wants to. Well, he didn't, and what we saw was Luka, the lack of defensive mobility, as he got blown by like some NBA record, 62% of the time. I mean, Josue, hell, he couldn't have kept me in front of him. Thinking about defensive man. Is he a hell of an offensive player? Yes, he is, but he gives you back that much more and some on the defensive end.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does, man. They need that's the lesson of the summer for Luka. Addressing the defensive end of the floor and how to impact it, because he was exposed in a big way throughout that NBA Finals. You know it hurts. You know it does, man. That's why we saw the most effort we've ever seen from Luka in that Game 4 matchup. But then, of course, you can't just turn into a defensive player in the middle of a series. You might be able to do it for one night, but you're not going to all of a sudden turn to Derrick White or you know what I mean? Or one of these
movie hands,
elite defenders.
No.
You're not in shape for that, right? If you
are who you are.
Right.
At that later time in the season, I always tell people, you don't trick people anymore. It was like when I was a Finals MVP. You didn't trick anybody. You're just better than the guy beside you, the guy they have guarding you, because they're going through different ways to stop you, but they can't find a way to stop you.
Right.
And the same thing is like, you can do all this stuff because when you repeat games and when you have a 7-game series, it's not like, football, the Super Bowl, where, you're going to have somebody can be the finals, can be the MVP because they have one great game. When the NBA, it's a kaleidoscope. It's a whole, I guess, cake that is made out there. And it's what Jaylen Brown did. Jaylen Brown put together a cake. He was dominant. He was dominant not only on the offensive end, but he was really good on the defensive end, because what he did, he made Luka work. And sometimes bringing the basketball up, stealing the basketball from Luka, he just put a lot of pressure on me. So he had to use just as much energy to bring the ball up. Whereas when you looked at him against Minnesota, he just casually started walking the ball up. Nobody put pressure on him till he crossed half court. And then he had that much more energy to use on his defensive end.
There's nothing like live baseball on a hot summer day, and I can't wait for my upcoming trip to Fenway Park this month, and you could be doing the same thing thanks to Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch, with killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. With the All-Star game in the rear view, right now, this is the time where things start to heat up going into the playoffs this upcoming fall, and you don't want to miss out on the action. I mean, the Boston Red Sox are one of the hottest teams in the MLB right now, playing their best of the year, and you don't want to miss out. You can also get last-minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, easy place to buy MLB tickets, and for every other kind of event in your area. This is your place to go to. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, you name it. Save even more with exclusive in-app deals on select seats ahead of the game or event. And also, it's the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
So Dallas Mavericks signed Klay Thompson not too long ago. So the Splash Brothers are no more in San Francisco. Are you surprised by this news?
I think I wasn't, because I think Klay felt like he was being disrespected. And I don't know how you disrespect somebody when you have, you have put all this money into it, but he could see his role being diminished. He saw Dominga getting minutes. He saw all these other guys starting to get minutes, and they started to cut down on his. But he's going to Dallas, which I think is almost a perfect situation, because if you're a guy like Klay Thompson, what they're asking you to do is spot up and knock down shots. Spot up and knock down. How many times did we see, all these guys get opportunities to shoot the basketball? P.J. Washington, wide open, couldn't score against the Celtics.
Do it. Yeah.
Jones, who played great against Minnesota, couldn't score against the Celtics. And
Green too, coming off the bench.
And these were wide open looks for those guys. So I think that in Klay's going, two things happen. One, he's going to an opportunity where he feels like he can win another championship. And two, he also is going to, people don't know this, but the state of Texas has no state income tax. So your money is going to go further in Texas and in Florida because neither one of these places have state income tax.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well,
I don't know, man.
I remember I got a check from the Houston Rockets one time.
Oh, that's right.
I first got traded there. I was like, wait a minute, whoa. Why am I getting look like I'm getting some more money? That's some more zeros.
Yeah, what's going on here? They don't do this in Massachusetts.
Yeah, they didn't do this in LA when I was playing with the Clippers. Man, maybe they made a mistake. No. They did what they did, and that was part of the gig.
But isn't there a part of you that just thinks that maybe the Warriors should just break up the whole band, man? Like, didn't Danny Ainge show everyone how it's done? You know what I mean? Or is it just the sentimental value?
What are you going to do? Get rid of Steph?
Danny would. Because you don't want to be the organization that all of a sudden, the party's over and it's taking you 10 years to get back to where, or even being a competitive team again, That
probably is true. And the asset value that you could get for a Steph Curry would probably be tremendous.
Huge.
So I'll agree with you. I mean, because you don't see them competing or getting an opportunity to win another championship. You look at right down the street. You look at what Sacramento is doing. Sacramento is a team right now that gives the Warriors fits. And that was even when Klay Thompson was there.
Right.
So I think that you're probably right. You're probably right. If you're going to break the band up, you're probably right. I mean, that was one of the things that Danny Ainge learned from Red Auerbach. And he asked Red one time, he said, you had a chance to get old Larry Bird and Kevin McHale and send them to Dallas for, I think it was Detlef Shrimp and Sam Perkins.
Oh, no. It was the Pacers, wasn't it?
No. It was, I think it was, I don't know. I think he was I think they were in Dallas.
Oh, because they ended up in Indiana. That's probably what it is.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So they could have made that move, but Red Auerbach, who always said all the time, never fall in love with the product. Be ready to move and be ready to change direction. and they didn't. And this took Celtics forever and a day to get back where they're at today.
That's funny you bring that up, because the moment I heard Danny say that was when I realized, oh, this thing's got an expiration date. KG, Paul Pierce, and them, they're not going to retire Celtic like that. Like, as a younger version of myself, that was a lot to take in. But then now, as an adult, I'm like, oh, well, that's what every organization should do, but not the Warriors. They're not doing that. They're holding on.
Well, so, you won. What did they get? He's won 4 championships. Is it 4 rings? So
4, yeah.
So yeah, they're. But I tell you what, all the people who love the Warriors right now are doing just like you. They're dissing the Warriors and saying the same thing you're saying. Sell the ship, save some of the people on the inside,
right?
Let's build another one to go even further. Let's build an ark right now.
For real.
We're gonna kick everybody else off. We got you, but we're gonna bring all the animals on. We're gonna have 10 people on. We're gonna build this ark. We're gonna sail it, but we're gonna rebuild. We're gonna replenish. And like you said, they're at the point where you look at their team and say, okay, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, who's their next best player?
Exactly.
That's the question. Go, who is the with a league now that has every great team in this league has at least 3 really strong players that you think about. Dallas was one. Dallas had to learn the hard way. Minnesota has some really good players. 3, 4 really good players. What happened to Denver? They had just 2 great players, and after that, they couldn't. So you got to be more like the Celtics. Spread it around. Have a bunch of really, really good players, almost borderline great, but collectively as a unit, they're so much better because they had the depth, and there was no way to stop them. There was no way to stop the Celtics. You stop one guy, what's going to happen? You stop 2. I remember my brother-in-law was complaining, "Oh, Porzingis, he ain't nothing. He didn't." And I finally told him a stat. I said, Porzingis led the league in post-up points. He was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah." He led the league in post-up points. So unlike Rob Williams, he was going to score.
Yeah.
Rob Williams was going to pass it. So you go out there. When you had Porzingis out there, you had 5 guys at all time who could knock down a 3 and score the basketball for you. You think about it, when they had Rob Williams, you had 4 guys out there who could score the basketball, and Rob Williams was a rebounder, but he wasn't going to score or be effective from the outside.
Right.
I mean, you remember that tape that they had the Rob Williams shooting 3s? And
he was trying.
You were like, look at him. Man, look at him. He's shooting 3s. I'm like, just swear. You see the guy who's guarding him? He's about your and he has a broom in his hand. Hell, he
literally had a broom in his hand.
Shooting 3s of a guy your size, and he has a broom in his hand. How's that gonna work out in the real game?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the formula. The Celtics knew. I mean, with Joe Mazzulla, people can say this team lives and dies by 3. No, they just made sure they can all shoot that 3. That's what it was.
Joe, just wait. How good was Joe Mazzulla?
Oh man,
how good was he?
Got everyone to buy in. I mean, night and day compared to his first season.
I mean, he was under the rest from the time he stepped on the court, following Ime, to even when they won the championship. Still, there were doubters about Joe Mazzulla. I'm not sure what kind of coach he is. I'm not sure about this. But Joe Mazzulla, that dude weathered the storm, man. He believed in his players, and his players believed in him. And that's what made this a great basketball team. The continuity that they had between players and coaches.
100%, man. That's why they're the NBA champions, and they have plenty of opportunities to get another one for sure, man. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Cedric Maxwell Podcast. Of course, like, subscribe, share the episodes, all that good stuff. And we got some more. We got some great stuff coming up, man. We got some more A-list guests and all that, and a mailbag episode, Max. We got a lot of people hitting me up, and just on Twitter in general, a bunch of questions they want to ask you and stuff. So I figured we'd do a mailbag episode within the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, man, everyone, I hope you're enjoying your summer, Celtics Summer League and all that.
I was happy about the
What's that?
T-shirts we gave away. How about them damn Celtics?
How about them damn Celtics?
I love the fact that we had a bunch of our subscribers get the T-shirts, and we saw a lot of them at the parade.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Max, look, I got the T-shirt. How about them damn Celtics? And then when I had Michael Felger with the T-shirt on, that to me just took it over the top because he's the ultimate hate the Celtics. Hate the Celtics, and when he put
he had your face right there on the shirt.
Oh my God, he had to when he had to end up, wearing the green team thing. That to me, that was spot on. But again, guys, we want to thank you. You only make us stronger. You and Josue and I have been doing this for a minute, and we've enjoyed you guys immensely. And we're going to try to keep bringing on quality product so we can do what we need to do.
Absolutely.
And, as I say right now, like your boy E40 would say, ping pong, nigga, ping pong.
Back and forth.
How you feel right now, man? Hey, good meeting you, man. Ping pong, nigga. That's right. Okay, all right.
I'll never forget the way you looked at me like I'm a translator. I'm like, I don't fucking know. He just told you back and forth, I guess. But as Chuck D said, that man got his own language, man. He got his own slang.
That was crazy. Absolutely crazy. Again,
all right, we'll see you guys next week, man. Enjoy Celtics Summer League for guys who are watching and everybody else out there. Enjoy the rest of your summer, of course. But we'll see you next week, man. We got a brand new episode.
Peace out.
Josue Pavon here, CLNS Media, and if you made it this far, that means you really like this video. So hit subscribe, make sure you keep our notifications on, damn it, and we got plenty of great content coming your way.